Hey Physics fam, we are back and doing a little bit of a trig review. So since we're going to be working with vectors, we're definitely going to be needing to use Pythagorean theorem and also SOHCAHTOA in order to solve some different things. So quick reminder, Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared can help us figure out different sides of a triangle. So for example, don't forget that this is the hypotenuse. The longest side of a triangle is the hypotenuse, and that's always the C in the Pythagorean theorem. Unfortunately though, we don't have A and B, so we can't figure out the sides of the triangle from the Pythagorean theorem. So we're gonna have to do something else. I guess we're gonna have to use SOHCAHTOA. Quick reminder, the sine of something is opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine, is adjacent over hypotenuse. And TOA, the tangent, is opposite over adjacent. A little bit of a trig review there. So that means that if I'm looking at this 52-degree angle, I know that angle, and I already know the hypotenuse. So if I wanted to find the length of this side, I could do that because this x is adjacent to the 52-degree angle and I have hypotenuse. So if I have something that's adjacent and something that's hypotenuse, I can use cosine to figure that out. So let's walk through that and how we would do that. I'm going to take the cosine of that 52-degree angle, and since cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, x is my adjacent side. I don't know that, that's my x. But my hypotenuse is 458. Now, because of that, I can actually solve for this triangle in order to, figure out what x is. So first thing I'm going to do is get x by itself. So I'm going to multiply 458 to both sides. The reason I want to do that is to get x all alone. So that means I just need to do 458, sorry, that's a little sloppy, times the cosine of 52 degrees. By the way, remember to have your calculator in degrees, not radians, or else this can screw up your calculation. Remember, when you put in your calculator, just type in 458 times, then hit the cosine button, and then 52, close the parentheses, and that's it. I end up with getting something like 281.97 for my x. So what does that mean? That means that this x is actually the number or length 281.97, so about 282 if we round a little bit. All right, now that I have that, I can now use the Pythagorean theorem to find out my other side. Let me clean this up and we'll get going on that. I want to get this side now perfect. I can do that. I have my hypotenuse, I have one of my sides of my triangle. Let me use the Pythagorean theorem. So remember, C is always the hypotenuse, so I can call this one A, and this is going to be my B. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I'm going to do 282 squared plus my X or B squared, because I don't know what that is, all right? And then my C squared is going to be 458 squared. Let me knock that out in my calculator a little bit. So 282 squared is going to give me a big number, 79,524, plus x squared equals 458 squared is going to be 209,764. Now that I have that, how do I solve for this? Careful, this is addition. So I'm going to subtract the 79,524 from both sides, 79,524. That cancels. Now let me clean this up just a little bit. I'm going to carry my work on over here. I still have x squared is equal to, and let me subtract those two. That ends up being with 209,764 minus 79,524. I end up with 130,240. Now, is that my answer? Is that my length for x? No, we've got to square root it, don't forget. So I got to take the square root of that number, throw that in my calculator, and then I get something much more manageable. I get about 360.89. So you could put that, maybe round up to 361, since it's just a triangle and we're getting close. Pretty good. But that is good. Let me clean that up because all we have to find now is the last angle. All right, nice and cleaned up. Just find this last angle. Don't forget, 90-degree angle is 90. And when we add up all angles on a triangle, they're 180. So let's just subtract 52 and 90 to get that. So 180 minus 52 minus 90 gets me about 38. So this is about 38 degrees. Perfect. Now that I have that, I have all three sides labeled. I have every angle covered, and through trig and the Pythagorean theorem, I figured out all parts of the triangle. Now remember, this is going to be helpful because when we start doing vectors, like adding one going north and then one east, you're going to need to find the resultant. And the way we find the resultant, of course, is going to be through our trig and Pythagorean theorem stuff. So this is going to be really, really helpful. All right. Hopefully this is a great little trig review for you and an application, because once we start applying this to problems, this is going to be really, really helpful skills. Okay. Thanks for sticking with it. I know the worksheet has about 6 of these, so let's get going. Let's make mistakes, check our answer keys, fix them up, learn from our mistakes, and we'll be good to go. Take care, physics fam. Love you.